so much. So the agenda for this evening, we wanted to make sure that we shared with you. Our goal is to be finished, as the invitation has stated, by 7:30. So if we can move to the next slide, please. What we are going to do is just introduce the Parent Council, exactly what that is to you all. And then we will do a quick synopsis of the Parent Council report. That was something that was shared with all of the parents at large who are on this call and a part of the community. Then we will have the school board presentation, which will be presented by Miss Nancy Garcilaso.
Yeah.
And then we will just have closing prayer. Now, I do understand that there is a continued need for dialogue and for questions to be answered. And while we will not have the opportunity in the audible sense to be able to do a Q&A, we want to make sure that you all understand that you can utilize the chat. We have various Parent Council representatives who are on the call today who will be making sure to gather those questions so that when the opportunity is afforded, that we are able to provide a response and see what we can do in terms of meeting those queries that come up. So utilize the chat, and not just for the questions, but also for the community. It has been a strength of SBCS to be able to talk to fellow parents and to figure out how it is that we can affect change. The Parent Council itself was derived in that manner. So please, please, please utilize the chat, even as it is that we begin to speak today. Let's move to the next slide, please. All right, so who is the Parent Council? We got this question a couple times. That QR code in the top left, as it is that we continue this presentation, is the Parent Council report. It will give much more detail to what it is that we are sharing this evening. So feel free at any point to scan it with your phone and you can follow along with our synopsis. Who is the Parent Council? I think that is a great question. It's probably the most important one of the evening. Well, the Parent Council is, to the next slide. Oh, the Parent Council is each and every one of the parents of a student at SBCS. The Parent Council is you. What you see underneath there is the Parent Council email accounts that you have been receiving communications from. As an SBCS parent, as a parent of an SBCS student, excuse me, you are a part of the Parent Council. It is the body of parents who provide the emotional, the financial, the physical, driving your kids to the school every day investment in SBCS. So each one of you is an important part of the Parent Council. Now, I think, Icky, you're still on the call. I have a question for you.
Sure.
How many years have you been a part of the SBCS community, and when did you start?
Approximately about 36 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There's probably one other person I've seen on here, maybe two. Sue Ellen's been around for quite a few. And Jonathan Young as well. I think Jonathan's brother and I were in school here.
Wow.
So Jonathan may tie me for about 36. I don't know if anybody else has been here that long. What do you think, Lydia?
Well, I've only been here for 2.5 years, but I think
you're a baby.
Thank you for that. I am a baby SBCS parent. So we want to get, just as a way of getting to know the audience, that same answer. Who or how long have you been a part of the SBCS community? There should be a poll that is coming up on your screens right now. So feel free to answer that. Let's figure out who is here this evening. Answer both questions. So how long have you been at SBCS? And of course, we have a space for your 36 years, Icky, is right there under alumni. You're welcome. And then to specifically, of course, answer the question about Parent Council involvement, what grade or grades are your children a part of? So feel free to answer that, and then we will share those results a little bit later. All right, so with that being said, I'm now going to turn it over to the rest of the Parent Council committee. Thank you. Next slide.
So what does the Parent Council do? Next slide. So the mission of the SBCS Parent Council is to be a voice for all parents and guardians in our school community while building and fostering a meaningful, transparent, and accountable partnership with school leadership. This is our mission statement. So our objectives, what are our objectives in this? We want to maintain transparency by partnering with our leadership. We want to serve as a forum to facilitate bi-directional communication. So we want to move information up and down from leadership to parents. We want to build and foster community and cooperation. We want to develop an understanding of what school processes are and encourage and support the overall success of our school and our students. Next slide. So how do we make that happen? Well, Parent Council is, as Lydia said, you. We have kindergarteners, we have first grade, second grade, and all the way up the ladder. Now, we represent, as a representative, a parent from each of those segments, one for kindergarten, one for first grade, one for second. And as that body, we want to take the concerns of the parents for each of those classes, each of those grades, and be able to communicate not only to the parents, but also to leadership. So if there's any parents that have, or guardians that have any issues, opinions and such, we can be that person to help facilitate that up to leadership and help change to happen and help our children grow. Next slide. So in that, our governance and how this looks and how this gets laid out is each grade, kindergarten through eighth, elects a PCR, a representative for their class. There will be a total of 9 representatives, and we are elected annually for this entire school year. That person is a voting member of the Parent Council, and 5 votes make up that quorum. So a minimum of 5 people to attend and make up that quorum. And then what we're looking at doing is for the upcoming 22-23 school year is develop a chairperson and secretary to be filled in for that school year as part of that student council representative as well. Next slide. So like I said, we are the voice of the class. We are listening to our parents. We are listening to our students. We are listening to the board and leadership, and we are communicating in a bi-directional manner, moving up and down information so that we see full transparency and have full communication. Everybody from each parent and guardian all the way up into leadership and then all the way back down. Next slide, please. So who are the current Parent Council representatives? So moving on to the next slide, starting off with kindergarten, I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Janelle Blazina, and I am the Parent Council representative for kindergarten. I'm also a mom of 2. We've been at this school for 5 years, and I'm also representing the HSA.
Hello, my name is Anthony Carey. My wife, Mary June Carey, are the parents of our daughter, Casey, who's in first grade. And this is our 2nd year at the school.
Hello, my name is Sue Ellen Da Silva. I have 2 children that currently attend South Bay. I have one that graduated, and like Pastor Icky, I have been at South Bay for 30 plus years, and I love the school.
Thank you, Sue Ellen. My name is David Jankel. This is my wife, Nikki Jankel. We have our daughter in 3rd grade, Sienna. We've been with the school for 2 years.
Hi everyone, my name is Jeremy Manapon. I've been at South Bay Junior Academy, South Bay Christian School for 12 years. My son graduated from the middle school program there 2 years ago, and now my daughter is in the 4th grade.
Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Elkins, and my son is in 5th grade, and I'm the representative for 5th grade.
Good evening, I'm Lydia L. You heard me already. I have a daughter in 6th grade. And yeah, I've been around for 2.5 years.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rosanna Torres, and I have daughters. I am the representative for 7th grade, and I also have a daughter in the 1st grade. We've been here for 4 years.
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Matson, and I have a son who is in the 8th grade. I am a representative with the board. I'm representing Genesis with the board, and I am also a parent council member. And we've been at the school for 5 years. Next slide. Okay, when did the parent council begin? I think I'm going to continue from here. And there was an event that brought us together. And to say it correctly, the principal was not fired, but her contract was not renewed. But she was a beloved member, or she is a beloved member of the parent council and the parents and students at SBJ. Hey, and really like-minded people getting together, wondering why their beloved principal was her contract not being renewed. So of course that concerned the parents and concerned everyone involved. And because that happened, we began to come together and we realized that some of the problems that we were experiencing at school, they were not isolated incidents. So we realized that we were like-minded people experiencing the same problems. And as we came together and talked more, we realized we had more in common and that change needed to happen. So somewhere around before March the 24th, we began to meet and the council began to take shape. March 24th, parent council meeting held and representatives voted for each class. March 27th, the parent council, the representatives meeting held a subcommittee forum, and the committees for SBCS, parent council mission objectives, the governance committee for research and quantitative analysis, committees for the qualitative analysis was formed, and we began to move at a rapid pace. A lot of talented people in this committee, a lot of talented thinkers, and we began to formulate and processes that we thought would bring us all forward and help us to get things done. March 27th, the PCR, we met, the findings built the parent council report. And if you look at that report, it's dynamic. It is not to be taken lightly. It is a well-executed report, and it paints a picture that is informational and not very, that's a bad word. So let's say it's very helpful. I won't say that it's very helpful in regards to understanding the direction we're going. So we want parents and we want teachers and we want the board to really look at it and derive information from it. March the 31st, the parent council report was delivered to the conference, school board, and to the parents. And to our dismay, we believe that it was not taken as seriously as it should. And so we are just trying to reaffirm today the idea of what the report says, and that we really should pay attention to it because it's really solid reporting. Next slide.
So what has the parent council learned so far? In this slide, we have the trajectory of the SBA and SBCS enrollment over the last 10 years. As you can see, we have been at a slow but steady decline. I also want to note that The area that I have circled in green are the 2 years that that Principal Dahl has been our principal. Next slide. The next slide we have is our average attrition rate by grade over the last 9 years. So the attrition rate for middle school is on average 20% higher than that of elementary school. And research suggests that changing schools outside of the traditional education points, such as graduations or promotions, can have an adverse effect on students. For most parents, especially those of us who opt for private education, our goal is to find a school community that will provide continuity for our child's academic journey, but also provide a strong foundation for a child's emotional, social, and mental health. Because of this, we generally would not move our child unless there is reason to do so. Next slide.
For our quality to all SBCS parents. The qualitative analysis is based on the feedback from the survey. The results of this survey show a high approval rating for Principal Dahl's leadership, while simultaneously unveiling a need to continue improving processes and policies at the school. On this slide, that they have a good working relationship with Principal Dahl. 83% of parents strongly agree that Principal Dahl treats them with respect. And on this last slide, it shows that when asked, 98% of parents strongly agree that South Bay Christian School do provide a safe and orderly environment for learning for all students.
The bulk of 50% of the reviews came from Yelp, where only about 30% came from Google and greatschools.com. When we look at all the reviews, this is what we were able to see. In 2013, the majority of the reviews were positive. People left with a really good experience. They felt that it was a family and caring atmosphere. The students felt the same because most likely the parents were the ones writing these reviews, and they had happy children coming home. Now, there are some challenges, as with any organization, that the school needed to work on, but it didn't eclipse the positive atmosphere and experience that the parents were having at that time. As we continued to 2015 with 4 reviews, we saw that there was a continued strong Christian foundation that was found at this school. However, within 12 months, we saw that about 50% of the reviews were now in a steady decline, where academics were no longer meeting the expectations. The really difficult part about sharing all of this information with you is that between 2021 and 2022, about 90% of the reviews have been negative, which shows a clear picture that people were not getting what they had been promised from the school. Parents are really having questions, and they're really having questions if it's even worth being a part of this community anymore. But overall, we believe, of course, in the South Bay Christian School mission and what it stands for. But now we realize that there is a lot that we have to meet in terms of these challenges and areas of opportunities to make it better. And the Parent Council is here to partner with the school leadership and the board to get it.
Hey, Rosanna, you're on mute, hun.
All right, thank you. So what exactly are all the reviews saying? I think the question we all have. Well, we have said that we have had positive reviews and negative reviews. Because we all gathered here tonight due to our wanting to understand the challenges and getting back to, or even getting back to where we expect to be, these are some of the things that came out. Our elementary schools have high recommendations. Most parents who are going through the curriculum or through the program really appreciate the academic programs, and they really appreciate both the academic awareness, spiritual foundation, and emotional stability. A lot of parents really like that. One of the consistent reviews, especially for elementary school, was that teachers are welcoming and kind. One of the things that we want to know as parents is when we give them a loving embrace as they go in, that they're welcome with that in return. In South Bay Christian School, we have had a consistent show that we are offering that to our children. However, we do have some challenges.
Yeah, one of the challenges mentioned is the middle school. It's lacking a quality curriculum and proper grading systems. Most of the parents who wrote about these areas spoke about the lack of clarity by teachers with both in-class and homework assignments. Additionally, parents are unclear as to why SBCS does not have a true commitment to competitive resources for our students who are about to embark upon one of the next major milestones on their educational journey. By the time they leave middle school, there is a serious doubt and valid concerns that the students do not possess the necessary tools to succeed in high school. Having a positive family atmosphere alone doesn't prepare the students for high school. Parents need to know and have ultimate confidence that upon arrival, they're children. And as they matriculate, SBCS is preparing them to be young adults upon graduation. High school is a 4-year test whereby their permanent record is being established and students are tested academically, spiritually, emotionally, physically. And this is not the first time this issue has been brought up. Recall the email that was sent out today. In conclusion, reviews have been mixed over time, specifically from 2013 to present day. The data has demonstrated that there's a steady decline on the parents getting a return on their investment. And we are here to actually work on a better SBS for all.
So what is the Parent Council doing right now? Well, like most of you, I have put my name to the petition that was the catalyst for a lot of the events that you have seen and reports that have come out. We have to date 186 signatures. It has been shared 123 times and viewed over 2,500 times. If you have not yet signed the petition, and I will share with you the demands that we are asking for, you can also scan the QR code that is right there and learn more about it. Next slide. So what happens when you sign? Immediately there is a message sent out to SBCS leadership. This includes the highest level in terms of association with the school, so the president of the North American Division of Seventh-day Adventists, the vice president. One is sent to the Southern California Conference president, to Mr. Harold Crook, the superintendent, the assistant superintendent, Ms. Nancy Garcilago, who will be speaking later, and to the SBCS board chairman, Janet Barnhill. Next slide. What are the specific demands that you see in the petition? Now, understand in terms of timeline, the petition was released on March the 26th. So it was before the report was sent out to you all. This was the first action that we as parents took, even at the genesis of creating the council itself. But we wanted to do something so that our voices could be heard. And these were the initial requests that have been put forth. So as the mission of the Parent Council has stated, we are looking for transparency, accountability, and partnership. In transparency, we want to know the current board members who are serving SBCS, how long they have served on the board and what church are they from. As parent constituents, it is important to understand the due process in getting your voices heard. If you do not know who is supposed to be representing you, it is very difficult to figure out how to affect change. Additionally, understanding how long these people have served on the board serves to continue to push for innovation and creativity. If there are people who are not yet making the cycle where we are getting fresh and new ideas, then the school could lend itself to a particular stagnation when it is that we need new ideas and new innovations for the futures of our children. We also want to know the minutes from the board meeting, because there is still so much ambiguity and a lack of clarity, and quite honestly, some questions around the methodology that was used to determine the action taken to vote for Principal Dahl to not be renewed. So the correction as Mike made, it wasn't that she was terminated, her contract was not renewed. Accountability, we are asking, just as a move of solidarity, that Principal Dahl be offered the opportunity to resign in honor, be offered the job so that she can make the decision, especially as we as a parent constituency truly love the changes that she was making, that she decide that she no longer want the position, as opposed to what some may say the egregious way that it was handled and that she was not given this option. Next, we would like to know the details behind this decision for her dismissal. Because there was a letter that was sent shortly after this decision was made that offered her the kindergarten position, there is still a lack of clarity as to why that she was not allowed to maintain her principalship, but yet qualified to continue to teach. With the fact that she is still remaining in the community, it is really unclear as to what the basis for this decision was, given that there was such a high approval rating with parents. We also are asking and demanding to see what we have learned through some sources, that there was a survey that actually had strength that eclipsed the parent survey that was used as a basis for her dismissal. If this survey served as to have so much power, despite the voice of the parents who had put forth the information that said they were happy with how it is that she had been serving, we would like to see it. A blank survey so that we can understand the methodology that was used behind this particular action. And finally, it is important that those who are a part of this school are heard about how the future is going to be crafted for it. And so we are requesting, as a parent council, the assurity that there will be representation from both the elementary and the middle school, so that there is a continued pipeline of communication, both in an upward and a downward motion, so that we continue to foster this partnership and move towards a better SBCS. Next slide, please. Okay, so what are the next steps? Now, at this juncture, there are some very important things that we feel should be brought to the attention of the council at large. During the tenure of our petition, and as many of you had seen even prior to this particular action, Jeremy Manapone is the one who had shared with us that there were some questions and doubts and just a lack of clarity surrounding what was happening with Principal Dahl. So at this time, I would like to give her the opportunity to speak in that regard, because from that point to now, there have been some changes even with her position as well. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, parent council and guests. For those that don't know me, my name is Jeremy, and I am the former secretary of the school. And my motivation to work at South Bay, always from the get-go, was for the kids. It was my love and desire to volunteer and contribute to the school's mission. My children attended the school since 2010, and we've been here. I've called South Bay my family. We've had issues prior, like during middle school time, even though unresolved. I still back then believed that, I had hopes that it was gonna get fixed. Unfortunately, recently I was sent a notice of termination from the conference, and it's because I shared the truth and what I believe was an injustice behind the not renewing of Principal Dahl. And I wanted to be clear to everyone here, especially the parents, that the principal did not fire me. I continue to support her mission as she serves out the remainder of her principalship at the school. Principal Dahl did not start or has any involvement at all with the petition that I started. Those efforts were born out of the group of parents who wanted to see more transparency in the school and administration and general practices. With this in mind, I am proud to call Principal Dahl an awesome leader, an amazing boss, and a true friend. And I also want to state that because of her Christian leadership, she has actually given a lot of us power to stand up for the truth and to fight for these children. So now I would like to give her an opportunity to share a few words. Principal Dahl.
I thank everyone for being here. I'm grateful, but also emotionally touched. Where we are at this point, I'm going to close my video if you don't mind, and I'll read my statement. At this point, I just wrote today, my dearest SBCS school family, when God chose rejoice always as our school theme for this year, he did so in his omniscience, seeing the end from the beginning. He knew that we would be in this transitional stage and that we would need to trust him. In the midst of this uncertain period we find ourselves in, we can absolutely rejoice knowing we are serving him in this beautiful school for the sake of his chosen young people. As I've stated in previous communications with you, I'm grateful for your support and the astute work you're putting forth in an effort to continue making our school the best educational setting possible for our precious, deserving young people. Although I express my appreciation for your support to me, to be reinstated as principal of SBCS in the letter sent on March 23, I affirm that my desire has been to return to the classroom whenever that opportunity was afforded to me, and also whenever God allowed me to do so. That opportunity to teach kindergarten at SBCS for the next school year is now available to me, and I look forward to great anticipation of fulfilling the post. With this in mind, I am addressing a few issues which have been brought to my attention regarding things such as the forming of the SBCS Parent Council, the petition which was initiated without my knowledge of such, reasons for teachers resigning, etc. So I'm literally just going to address the questions that were asked of me to respond to. Number one, Parent Council formation and petition initiation. I appreciate those who've already spoken to this. I had no knowledge of a petition being planned or initiated. I was subsequently made aware of such petition by Paul Marcanes, who is an SBCS school employee as well as a parent. He was concerned. I chose not to read or discuss the petition as the idea of it caused me utter emotional distress. The idea of it caused me to feel that my beloved school was literally being torn apart. The intent of the position is understandable, considering that our SBCS parents, along with parents in any school, are whom we are here to serve. We serve them for the sake of their precious children that they have graciously entrusted to us, and as such, they are major stakeholders whose voices must be heard. Number two, teachers' resignations. It has been said that teachers are leaving SBCS as a result of their disapproval of me as principal. Following are the real reasons given for their departure from SBCS. Diane Voigt submitted her resignation at the beginning of this school year. She stated her reason as retiring. Gracia Campos submitted her resignation last school year in order to join her husband in his new pastoral position in Lancaster, California. Subsequently, she changed her mind and requested to remain at SBCS for the 2021 school year. She is now resigning to relocate along with her husband as he begins his new pastoral position in Arizona. She will also be teaching there as one at the SGA schools. Keith Hicks was hired in 2019-2020 with the understanding that he would remain at SBCS for 2 years only while his wife completed her degree. He submitted his resignation at the beginning of this 21-22 school year due to her being on track to graduate and receive her higher educational degree. Sherry Dawson has chosen to retire and enjoy her family after many dedicated years of service to our school where she has faithfully served in multiple capacities. Number 3, reasons for HSA and marketing director not being allowed to remain in school board meetings during executive session. According to the SBCS school constitution and bylaws, only voting members of the SBCS school board are allowed to remain and participate in school board meetings during the executive sessions, which include items which are voted upon. All other invited guests are allowed to join the meetings until such time as the executive session begins. Please reference the articles below, which I've added in this, which are taken directly from the SBCS Constitution and Bylaws. Article 3, School Board, Section 3.1, Membership. The Board of Directors of South Bay Junior Academy shall be constituted as follows. 3.1.6, the President of the Home and School Association of South Bay Junior Academy as a non-voting member, unless such individual is a member of a Seventh-day Adventist church. 3.1.11, one faculty representative elected annually by the faculty. Said representative is excluded from the board in executive session. I must add here that our constitution and bylaws are outdated and they need to be, we need a constituency meeting in order to update them. Number 4, no basis of impropriety, illegal, immoral, or otherwise as reasoning for the decision not to renew my contract. As was addressed in an email from Associate Superintendent Nancy Garcilazo to all SBCS parents, the decision not to rehire me as principal of SBCS for the 22-23 school year did not include any basis of impropriety, nothing immoral or illegal, and is copied in the communication sent from her below, which I've sent to you all, that she requested that I forward it to you. Number 5, middle school restructuring. When Raquel Mentor resigned last school year, the decision was made to combine grades 7 and 8 due to the 8th grade class having a total enrollment of 7, which would potentially make the 7th, 8th grade combination classroom a total of 17 students. In the SBA educational system, it is acceptable for a 7th, 8th grade classroom to have a total of 32 students. The implementation of the new grading system using standard-based grading scales has caused some confusion as well as a lack of clarity and expectations, and this is being worked on at present. In conclusion, I'd like to share the daily Bible verse, which is sent to me on my cell phone. This afternoon is perfectly stated and comes from God himself to reiterate and reinforce what he's doing in our beloved school. For now, we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as also I have known. 1 Corinthians 13:12. We don't know the plans what God has for our school, but we must trust that he knows the end from the beginning and believe that what he has begun, he will finish for his school. I have said multitudes of blessings to you all, and I appreciate all of your help. I will answer questions if needed. I thank you for your time, your love, your support, and your diligence in making our school the best that it can be.
Thank you so much, Principal Dahl, for sharing your statements and for bringing clarity to some issues. I know that this is difficult and it is a combination of heartbreak, but there's also hope that things can get better. So we thank you for taking the time here. As it is that we are going to transition shortly so that the board has an opportunity to present what it is that they would like to give as their response. We wanted to pose a question to the audience this evening. And so in a few moments, what is going to come up on your screen is another question that we think is important as we set the stage for why and what is it that motivated all of us to decide to choose our beloved school. So in the chat shortly, or you can go to www.menti.com and put in this code 2365426. You do it right now. What was the main reason for you choosing SBCS? As it is that you enter your responses, you will begin to see a visual representation of what your reasons were for choosing the school. And who is KACH ONG. Whoever you are, please stop marking the screen. Thank you. So let's do that again. Feel free to go to, and it is shared in the chat. If one of the PCR members can make sure to share it in the chat as well. Why did you choose?
It's in the chat.
Awesome, thank you. Why did you choose SBCS? All right, closest SDA school. They said it's in the chat. Let me see. All right, let me type it. There we go. As it is that you type that in, you will be able to see all of the different reasons that the community has come together and how it is that we have similarities and ideas that you may not have thought of as a benefit to the SBCS community. So we will give it another 30 seconds. I put the link in the chat and I will do it one more time for you. The link is MENTI. There you go. Thank you. So diversity in class size, safety, Christian school values, a Christian focus, closest SDA school. Seems like more than one person has said that, because the ideas that are repeated in your responses, those words will become the biggest. So that means multiple people have prioritized that as a particular reason for choosing SBCS. So we are going to close in another 10 seconds. 5, 4, and we will share this with you, with the parent council. 3, 2, and 1. Thank you all so much for taking part of this. I know that we are like-minded. I see Christian throughout, a love for teachers, love for SDA teachers. So thank you all so much. So we will transition to the presentation, and at this time we will turn it over to Ms. Nancy Garcilaso, who will be representing the board for the presentation. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I can see by the fact that there are so many of you here that you truly love the school and you love that your children attend there. In my presentation, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the governance of the school. And I sent a set of slides to Ms. Blazina. Are those available? Thank you. So, South Bay Christian School has been in existence since 1964 and has had its ups and downs through the years, with 10th grade, 9th and 10th grade for some time, and then the 9th and 10th grade kind of dissolved, and now just K through 8. The name changed to South Bay Christian School, but nonetheless, it's been owned and operated by the Seventh-day Adventist Church. It is part of the second largest parochial school system in the United States. It's the SDA school system is just smaller than the Catholic school system. It's larger than the Lutherans, larger than any other parochial private school system. The Adventist school system gets their curriculum from the North American Division of Seventh-day Adventists. Our working policy comes from the Pacific Union of Seventh-day Adventists, and the supervision and staffing is managed by the Southern California Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. Now, those may be terms that you're not aware of. Our Seventh-day Adventist Church is a worldwide church, and it's divided into smaller pieces for governance. So the North American Division is one area of governance. The North American Division is divided into different unions. Our union is the Pacific Union, and each union is divided into smaller areas. And we are the Southern California Conference, and we cover LA County and Ventura County and a small part of Kern County. Now, South Bay Christian School is directly attached to 7 Seventh-day Adventist churches, the constituent churches. These churches support the school financially, and they support the school by offering board members. So those 7 churches are the Gardena Genesis SDA Church, the Gardena Japanese SDA Church, the Hawthorne SDA Church, the La Amistad SDA Church, the Long Beach SDA Church, the Rolling Hills SDA Church, and the South Bay SDA Church. The board members are taken from these churches. Here is how it's made up. One pastor from each constituent church is a board member, and one lay person, that means that the members from each constituent church, one for every 50. So if the church has 100 members, they have 2 representatives that they can send to the school board. On the board also is the principal of the South Bay Christian School, the vice principal of the school, who is a non-voting member, the president of the Home and School Association, as has been mentioned. If that person is a member of one of those Seventh-day Adventist churches, they are a voting member. If they're not, then they are not a voting member. The superintendent of schools that's assigned to that school, that would be me, and a faculty representative elected by the faculty. And so that faculty member is considered a guest and does not also participate in the board executive session. So as you can see, there's quite a large pool of board members. One of the concerns is that they don't always all attend. And so we always struggle to make sure that our board meetings are attended well and the participation is high. Now, each church elects their representatives to the board. And although they generally do that once a year, some churches have longer terms of 2 years. But if a church determines that one of their elected board members is not attending or is unable to attend, they can replace that board member through their church board vote at any time as necessary. South Bay Christian School also follows the policies contained in the Pacific Union Education Code. That is our working policy for academics, for all school programs, for financial policies, and for employment practices. We also follow the Southern California Conference Information and Policies Handbook. We follow the student handbook and the school's constitution and bylaws. So those are our governing bodies, our governing documents, and a little bit about how our school is run. We are not independent. We belong to a large organization. This is how our school systems have operated. Our school has been successful and has a strong reputation of good academic programs, strong spiritual programs, and the system works well. And so that is my presentation. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Nancy Garcilago. Is it possible that we, the constituents, are able to get a list of who is currently on the board so that we know who we should be communicating to should we have questions or to learn more about this process?
At this point, we don't generally give out board member lists. Each church knows who their representative is, but in general, we haven't done that in the past.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So with that presentation, we have been able to share and get the board's response at this time to what it is that we have queries about. There is one more question that I think we all as a community should take the time to answer and to reflect on as we continue to search for opportunities for partnership in creating a better SBCS. So at this time, Janelle, if you will bring up the next question that is about to be shared, you can use the same link. I will ask the PCR team if you would share the link again. Ooh, I don't know how to, there you go. So if you click on the link, and we'll put it in the chat, what is the most important thing as a constituent body you need to see changed or improved at SBCS? Feel free to put in your one word, and we will again create a word cloud. Please know that your responses to these questions are completely anonymous. My apologies in not sharing that earlier. So you are able to share, and we will not in any way know what it is that your responses are, either for the previous question or for this current one. I see partnership, transparency seems to have been a repeated response. Sports, parent vote, communication, transparent, preparedness, academic excellence, togetherness. I will give you about another minute. Oh, I see some in the chat. Music and sports, inclusion. You can do it in either method. That would be totally fine. And we will share these results with the council so that you all have them. And it will also help us as parent council representatives to understand what the priorities are of the parent body at large as we work to formulate our plan for the next steps. So 30 more seconds. Accountability, clear communication, music art, all right? Honesty, fully staffed, diversity, accountability, strong curriculum, sharing the goal of SBCS. All right, we will shut this down in 10 seconds. So I'm gonna give you 10 more seconds. Yes, unfortunately, each person only gets one response. So 10, 9, 06, 3, 2, 1. All right. Oh, somebody came right at the end. So we will share both of those results with the parent body so that you can see what the priorities are for you all. And it will help us as your parent representatives to continue to formulate our plans into how we want to make a better SBCS. So with that being said, a question that if I was just new to this presentation that I would be asking are, what are the next steps? Well, that is going to be something that the parent council representatives will get together and understand that the function of the parent council representatives at this time is to help facilitate communication. As you have been sharing your stories and what it is that you are looking to improve, it has been sent, Janelle, if you could bring up the second to last slide for me. It has been sent to the parent council email. And we as a team that has been elected by the parent body takes the time to review and see what it is that we can do to assist you with your concerns. Understand that we believe in the due diligence process. We believe in partnering at all levels of school leadership, speaking with the teachers, of course, speaking with the principal, and speaking with leaders above that, which is why understanding and knowing who the board are is so important, or board members are. So if it is, or if there is something that has not been addressed, or something that you want us to look into or help assist you with, please feel free to reach out to your respective parent council representative by grade. And so we can continue to give communication where we can, or it might just be in terms of giving you our experience into how we were able to handle certain issues in our matriculation with SBCS. So all of us have been listed here. If you could go back to the slide that has everybody's name, we will share it one more time. And in every slide, you will see the parent council email. It is at the bottom. You all have definitely been using it. It is right up, there we are. So all of the names are there. We will make sure that you know who it is that you need to communicate with. And our goal is not just to speak about the problems, but to come together in a united way with the common goal of creating solutions for them. If you would go to the last slide, sorry, Janelle, to have you go all the way around. And Ikki, I will ask you to pray shortly. So what is the next step for the Parent Council? The Parent Council will continue with their efforts of discovery and research towards a continued partnership and to create a better SBCS with the school board and school leadership. That is our goal. That is what we will continue to strive for. And we believe, though this may have been a heavy conversation, there is still quite a bit of hope to make that happen. So now I want to turn it over to you, Ikki, to close this out. And please note that this is a parent council meeting. Even with all of this information, we are giving everybody here 25 minutes back. I just want to say that. Thank you.
I want to say it is always appreciated when I go to a meeting and they give me some of my life back, Lydia. Thank you, parents. Thank you for your concern, for your passion, for your love for this school that many of us deeply love. I want to thank Nancy for sharing tonight so that it helps bring clarity to the governance of how the system runs. I'd like to close this out with some prayer this evening. So just take a moment with me and bow your heads, close your eyes. God, in the storm of confusion and stress and anxiety, in the loss of transparency and communication, we pray that your Holy Spirit would fall on each of us again. Unite us so that we become a school that shines like the kingdom shines, that brings goodness, accountability, that brings diversity and inclusion. I ask that you'd bless each teacher who've poured themselves tirelessly every day into watching our children and blessing them with education and helping them to grow into the Jesus people that they should be. Bless them tonight. Bless them with their family. Bless them with their stresses. Bless them with their passion and compassion towards our children. I pray that you would bless our administrators. Thank you for those who have poured over the bylaws and who've poured over prayer over the school, the campus, and their parents, who have done their due diligence to do their best to make sure that the system is running in a fair and just way. And Lord, where it's fallen apart, where it's fallen short, grant to us discernment, wisdom on how to change those things, and then give us courage to do so. God, thank you so much for our parents. I want to pray for each household that's represented on this call. But more than that, Lord, I want to pray for the whole South Bay community. Would you watch over each family as they are working through their finances, as they want to raise their children in better ways, as they want to care for the mental health of each one of their beloved kids, as they seek refuge and education and goodness out of South Bay Christian School. We turn these things to you. And so, Lord, allow us to dream and envision a good, healthy, and safe place. And then let us pour each into that and make it the kingdom of God here on earth. Thank you for our time. We love you. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Icky. So the formal presentation has been completed. For those who want to stay on and ask some questions, the parent council, and if the board leadership would like to remain, we are happy to do so, especially since we have additional time. So one at a time, please feel free to just raise your hand. That's the little, oh boy. Oh, right. In the bottom where it says reactions, you have the option in there to raise your hand. And I will ask the council members to help me as we go through this, because there is 76 of you, so I can't see all of that on one screen. But we will do our best to either address it or take it as an action so that we can come back to it later. The parent council reps are here to serve you. You put us in this position, so that is our goal to do it tonight. So if there are, I'm going through. If you want to put your name in the chat, man, there's a lot of paper. Yeah, I can't. I do not see any. Oh, wait. And we have people joining as well. Reps, do you see any question?
Lydia, at this point, I do not.
Okay. All right. Well, then we appreciate your time. We all get to go eat some dinner. So thank you all again. Have a good evening.
Peace and love, my friends.
Bye.